Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, Bean here, and today I'm coming at you with a video that I actually didn't think was going to have as many books in it as it does, and it is going to be unfinished series that I own. So this is going to be a collection of books that I own where the series itself is unfinished as of yet. Hold on. So not even everything hasn't even been published yet. I have these separated into 3 different piles. I have YA fantasy, adult fantasy, and then everything else basically. So non-fantasy. I feel like I do need to let you know, take pity on me slightly. I have like half my books here. Most of my books are actually in storage at my parents' house because they don't fit in our apartment. I have taken over one full room for my books, but it's not enough, and I seem to have a problem with this. So, my list is limited, and you may have even seen some books like on previous videos, or on my last bookshelf tour where you're like, hey, that one's not finished, blah, blah, blah. I'm doing the best I can with what I have right now, so we're gonna go with this, and if you see others, yeah, that's fair, I'm not the best at this. But we're gonna start actually with the non-fantastical, and I'm gonna pull up my phone because I keep looking up everything that is here that I have. So I'm gonna start with the non-fantastical books that I own currently that I have either read or am very interested in reading and plan on reading soon. The first one I'm actually going to mention is I still have Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. I read the first one years ago when it actually first came out, and I loved it, and then I waited for the second one and never read it. But this is a 5-book series now. The 5th book is not out. The 5th book, 9 Liars, comes out on December 27th of 2022. So this series is a YA mystery series, consists of Truly Devious, The Vanishing Stair, The Hand on the Wall, The Box in the Woods, and 9 Liars. So, yeah, that's this first one. I did enjoy this book, so I do recommend if you're in YA and you're reading mystery and are intrigued in a very convoluted type of mystery for YA. The next book I have is Curse of the Spectre Queen by Jenny Elder Moak. There are 2 books in this series right now, and both of them are out. However, the author has alluded that there are more coming, so I don't have a date for these. This is 1920s teenaged female Indiana Jones. That is literally what it is. That is all you need to know, and it was wonderful and exactly what I expected. The next book that I have, I'm actually very excited to be talking about, and it's actually a very short book. It's only this long, which is funny because the audiobook's apparently 7 hours long, but that is Flirtosaurus by Erin Malone. Erin Malone has co-authored a bunch of books, but this is her first standalone, and it is a romantic comedy, scientific based. The main character in this story is a paleontologist, and she falls for an astronomer. Astronomer? Yes, an astronomer. And this is the first book in the natural history series. It is a trilogy of books that are all kind of interconnected, but follow different characters. The first 2 are out, so we have this one, and the second one is Lovebug, and the third one, Sharkbait, actually comes out in September, and I know Callie's very excited for that one. She's currently actually listening to the audiobook of this one and is loving it, and I've just heard so many good things, and the author was so sweet, and I'm super excited to get to this one very soon. Okay, that's what I had for non-fantastical books. In my defense, I also do have a couple sci-fi books that have made their way into the fantasy piles. I also don't have that many non-fantastical or sci-fi books that are series. I tend to give more standalones, I've learned, and a lot of those, the ones that are series, are finished. So, because horror just doesn't generally have series. Horror is just generally by itself, so I don't know. But that's kind of how this has turned out, so we're gonna go with it. I'm gonna go with the YA books next because those are another smaller pile again. Again, these are more books than I thought, but I'm just having fun. The first book that I have is The City of Dusk, which is a chonker of a book, I'll have you know. And this is by Tara Sim. I have read a book by Tara Sim before. I read Timekeeper a long time ago, and I did enjoy it. I don't remember much about it, but it's very intriguing, fantastical world. And this is about 4 heirs to divine power. So basically, there's 4 different realms: life, death, light, and darkness, and they all converge in the City of Dusk. But when the gods have abandoned them, the heirs to the divine power decide to step up and try to save their city. But it is a rebellion story. This is the first book in a trilogy. We have the names for all 3 books. So we have The City of Dusk, The Midnight Kingdom, and The Dawn Throne. There are no covers for the other ones. This one came out this year in March. The second book will come out in April of 2023, and the third book in April of 2024. So we got some time before these, but like there's maps, and honestly, I'm very excited for this book. I got this one from, I want to say from an Unplugged box, so I'm excited to read it, but it also just looks so good, and I love this cover. It's so pretty. The series is called The Dark Gods as well. I didn't say that, sorry. Alright, the next series that I have that is YA, which I honestly thought it was adult, but it actually, when I looked it up, it is considered YA. And that's The Jasmine Throne by Tasha Suri. This book has been making its rounds on BookTube, I know. Again, this is another Unplugged book that I got. And it's very pretty. It is a gorgeous book. It is blurred by S.A. Chakraborty, so right there, like, it's sold to basically everybody. Also by Alexi Harrow, R.F. Kwong. There's a lot of big names blurbing this book, and a lot of people talking about it. The sequel to it, The Oleander Sword, just came out this month in August, and the third book, which is yet untitled, is set to come out next year at some point. We don't have any more details. But I believe this is a story of a princess looking for vengeance. I don't remember it. I know it's sapphic, and I know it's gotten rave reviews recently. So I am intrigued by it. It is another chonker of a book. I'm very excited by it. This one is over 500 pages, so more big books. I'm happy. I like my big books, in case you didn't know. I'm looking up all of these books so that way I know what the titles of the sequels are, so I'm sorry. The next YA series that I have here is Realmbreaker by Victoria Aveyard. I have not yet read this. I actually have not read a Victoria Aveyard book. I did not read her Red Queen series and have been told since that I have probably grown out of it, which is fine. I already have way too many books on my TBR. The sequel to this book, Bladebreaker, came out in June, and the third book in the series we really don't have any information on. There's no date, there's no nothing on it that I have seen, but if she keeps with her publication schedule, it should come out next year, assuming there is still a third book, and I haven't missed something big that it's only a duology. If it is, forgive me for this one. But I think this book just looks cool from the cover. I'm going into it completely blind. It's super pretty, but yeah. This is another one that's been making its round on BookTube and BookTok. The next trilogy that I have, and the last YA one I have right here at least, is going to be Fortune Silver into Stars by Bridget Kemmerer. We have met her twice. She is such a sweetheart. Absolutely love her. This is set to be a trilogy. So we have this one and then 2 more, neither of which have titles. This is the Fortune Silver into Stars series. But they're set to be released, the second one next year and the third one the year after that. So I'm super excited. She's been coming out with books like routinely and super quickly. So I'm super excited to see where this one heads. All right, now we're going to be getting into the adult books. There's a lot of them, okay? Well, I say there's a lot. There's a solid number of these. The first book that I couldn't skip over talking, obviously, is Gideon the Ninth. Now, the reason this one makes me laugh a little bit, I have read Gideon the Ninth. I loved this book. I need to reread it because I did forget some details of what happened. Gideon the Ninth was originally set to be a trilogy, and now it is a quartet. There are 4 books coming out in this series. They added a third one. It was Gideon, Harrow, and Alecto originally were the 3 books in this series. There is now Nona the Ninth. So we have Gideon the Ninth, which has been out since 2019, I believe. Then we have Harrow the Ninth, which came out in 2020. And then we have the third one, which is now called Nona the Ninth, which comes out in September of this year. So it comes out next month, which is super exciting. And then the last one that's supposed to be published next year is Alecto the Ninth. Now, this is the Locked Tomb series. It is a sci-fi, and it is multiple planets, all that have their own sort of, I don't want to say cult, but they have their own sort of religion on each planet that honors what that planet does for the solar system. And this follows Gideon from the 9th planet, and they handle death. They're all necromancers. Gideon is actually not... So, fun thing about this book, though, Gideon is not a necromancer. Gideon is a swordswoman. This is a bit of a sapphic romance, which I absolutely loved it. There wasn't a lot of romance in here. It was hinted at, but it wasn't really a romantic book. It was an action-packed political book. Be warned, it is very convoluted in places, but it is so good. Highly recommend. Take your time reading Tamsin Muir. So this next one is slightly cheating because it is technically a completed series, but it's also not. So, I'm talking about The Invisible Library by Genevieve Kaufman, which I feel like I can't go through a video without talking about this book. We have The Invisible Library, The Masked City, The Burning Page, The Lost Plot, The Mortal Word, The Secret Chapter, The Dark Archive, and The Untold Story. So there are 8 books out in this series. Genevieve Kaufman is calling this a season of this story, and she says that this season is done, but there's more that she's going to be writing. So I'm including this because it sounds like she's going to continue this, but possibly in this series, possibly not. I'm not exactly sure. But whatever it is, I love this series. This is one of my favorites. If you have not heard me talk about this book, this is a sort of sci-fi type fantasy book that follows Irene, who is a librarian at the Invisible Library, which is an interdimensional library that connects to countless different worlds of varying amounts of magic and steampunkness, and she goes around and collects important artifacts in order to keep the worlds from falling into chaos. And it's so well done. Again, one of those series that I need to read slowly just to take everything in, but it's so well done. So good. I love it. The next book I have is actually going to be a quartet, and I believe it's actually basically it'll be completed by the end of this year. And that is The Kingmaker Chronicles by Amanda Boucher. The first book, A Promise of Fire. I have not read this whole book yet. I have started it, and I really enjoyed it. But at the time, I was reading it as a library book, so I did have to return it. The first book, A Promise of Fire. Second book, Breath of Fire. Third book, Heart on Fire. Novella is Of Fate and Fire. And the fourth book, which comes out October 4th of 2022, A Curse of Queens. This is a story that follows Kat, who is pretending to be a soothsayer at a circus when she is ripped from that world by a warrior, basically, like a general of an army, if I recall correctly, and he basically kidnaps her and says, alright, well, you have this magic power, I know you do, even though you're pretending you don't, and I want you to help me destroy the kingdom, destroy the king. So it is an enemies to lovers, is what I know about it. Because he kidnaps her. It's a thing. But we met Amanda Boucher at a Polycon. She is a sweetheart. I absolutely love her. And I'm very excited to finish the series. It does finish the end of this year, so we'll have all of these gorgeous, gorgeous covers. So, yes. Alright, the next book I have is a trilogy. The third one comes out, again, the end of this year, and that is The Obsidian Tower by Melissa Caruso. This is the Rooks in Ruin trilogy. The first one, the Obsidian Tower. The second one, the Quicksilver Court, which is already out. And the Ivory Tomb will be released December 6th of 2022. This sounds so intriguing, and I did see it on BookTube, but it sounds so intriguing. This follows a girl named Rix, who is marked as a mage, which is a good thing. She's destined for a lot of power, only to realize that her magic is broken in some way. And basically whenever she touches someone, she kills them. And after a series of unfortunate events, she ends up killing a visiting dignitary and flees. And shenanigans. I don't know, but I absolutely love this cover. For one, it is beautiful. But this is high up on my TBR. I have had my eyes on this for a long time. Really want to read it. So this one will be completed at the end of this year. A completed trilogy. All right, the next series that I'm going to talk about is the Seven Kenning series, and that is by Kevin Hearn. This is the first book, A Plague of Giants. There are so far 3 books announced for this. I don't know if it's just a trilogy or if it will be continuing. The second book, The Blight of Black Wings, is also already out, while the third book, A Curse of Krakens, will be coming in June of next year. So 2023. This is a story that is told by a bard, which is a very interesting way of telling it. Basically, this bard is able to shapeshift temporarily into different characters as he tells the story of when the giants attacked. And so in this book, he tells the story of why the giants attacked, what they did, and what happened to different individuals throughout the world that he has met. And he heard their stories, and he's now able to tell their stories through himself to this town. And it's very, very in-depth. It's very intriguing, very high fantasy. This reminds me a lot of a D&D campaign. So highly recommend this. It's very well done, very intense though. And if you are just getting into fantasy, don't go with this one. This one is a lot. But if you are an enjoyer of fantasy, I highly recommend Kevin Hearn. Alright, the next series I'm going to talk about is, as of right now, a 4-book series. Well, that's what it's announced to be, and that is The Rage of Dragons, which is the first book in the Burning series by Evan Winter. I read this book back, honestly, when it came out. The second book, The Fires of Vengeance, came out in 2020. The next book is called The Lord of Demons. We don't have a release date for it. I'm assuming it'll be next year at some point. As of right now, he's 2 years behind, but on making a new one, so, oh, my battery's flashing. That's why. Alright, and then the fourth one doesn't even have a title yet, but the Omeki people have been fighting an unwinnable fight for 100,000 years, and this is what their entire society is based off of, is this one war. So there's dragon, there's fighting, there's magic. It's very intriguing. It's a little convoluted at times again, but it was very good. Highly recommend the audiobook for that one, actually. The last series that I'm going to talk about is one that is very near and dear to me. I am really enjoying it. You will notice I did skip over Name of the Wind. I have talked that one to death. Yes, Patrick Rothfuss, we're still waiting for the third book. Please let us know when it's coming out. I keep hearing rumors, but then it never comes. So please, hi, I'd like to know. I don't mean to bug you, but I would really like to know. And I'm not even mentioning George R.R. Martin because... So, the last series that I do want to talk about, though, in this series, other than Name of the Wind, is the Silent Gods series. And this is the first book, Master of Sorrows. This cover, I love this cover so much. The second book, Master Artificer, has come out already. It came out in May of 2021. The third book, Master of the Fallen, came out supposedly earlier this year, though I don't remember seeing it. So I'm hitting doubt on that one. I don't know that it actually was released. And then there's supposed to be a fourth book that, again, has no set release date. Like, it says February 22nd of 2022, but it didn't come out. It doesn't even have a title. So I do believe this is a quartet. But I've also heard that it's going to be longer than that this is going to be like a 10-book series, and he's just going to go and he's going to run with it, and I hope he does, because this series is great. I love it. This follows a blacksmith who actually is missing an arm, but any disability is seen as a weakness, and you will be killed on the spot for it, as well as for magic, and he has both. So I highly recommend this series. It's very well done. It is also beautiful, so they're just beautiful books. But yeah. All right. That's what I got for you guys here today. So these are the series that I recommend reading. These are ones that are uncompleted, or so much so. So keep that in mind if you start reading any of these. But yeah, please put down below any series that you have that are not completed or will be completed soon, or maybe won't be completed anytime soon. Who knows? There are so many out there. But that's all I got for you guys here today. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button down below. We post videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and the occasional Sunday. And if you want to be reminded, hit the little bell icon down below. And until next time, guys, stay safe, stay healthy, and keep reading. Bye!